My child, I want you to listen carefully because I am about to share a very important message with you. This is not something ordinary. It is a revelation, a truth that will change how you see the world around you. Jesus wants you to hear this message today. So open your heart and mind, for what I am about to tell you carries a lesson of faith, courage, and love. Have you ever felt a sense of unease, as though someone was watching you, following your every move? Perhaps you've caught glimpses of a stranger, a shadow lurking in the background. Maybe you've noticed a car parked near your home, day after day, with someone inside watching you intently. The feeling is unsettling, isn't it? Your mind races, trying to understand why. Who is this person? What do they want? Why are they here? It's easy to let fear take over in moments like this. You might think, are they here to harm me? Is this a sign of danger? But today, my child, I want to tell you something that will surprise you. This stranger's presence is no coincidence. They are here for a reason, a divine reason. Let me take you back to a time when Jesus himself walked among us. In those days, he would often speak in parables, using stories to teach us lessons about life, faith, and the kingdom of heaven. Sometimes, his teachings were direct, but other times, they were cloaked in mystery, meant to make us reflect deeply. The presence of this stranger, watching you so intently, is like one of those parables. It may seem puzzling at first, but the truth behind it holds a powerful message. The stranger who appears to be watching you is not here to harm you. They are a reminder, an earthly symbol of the divine gaze of God. Just as this stranger observes you, silently and consistently, so too does Jesus watch over you every moment of your life. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt alone, as though no one truly sees you or understands what you're going through? We all experience moments like that, don't we? But the truth is, you are never alone. Jesus sees every step you take, every challenge you face, and every tear you shed. He watches over you with love, guiding you even when you cannot see his hand at work. This stranger's presence is unsettling because it forces you to confront a reality we often forget. We are not invisible. Our actions, thoughts, and decisions are seen, not just by others, but by the one who created us. And while this truth may initially feel intimidating, it is, in fact, a source of great comfort. Pause for a moment, my child, and think about what this means. Imagine the love it takes to care so deeply for you that someone, Jesus himself, would watch over you every second, ensuring your safety, guiding your steps, and cheering you on in your victories. Isn't that beautiful? But there is more to this message. The presence of this stranger is also a call to reflection. It's a chance to ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? Am I walking on the path that Jesus wants for me? Am I living in a way that honors him? Sometimes, we drift away from the life we are meant to live. We get caught up in our own desires, forgetting the greater purpose we were created for. This moment is a wake-up call, a gentle reminder to return to the arms of the Lord. Now let me share a story with you, one that echoes the lesson of this mysterious stranger. There was once a man named David, who lived an ordinary life, much like yours and mine. One day, David began to notice something unusual. Every time he went outside, he saw a man standing across the street, watching him. The man never spoke or approached, but his presence was constant. At first, David was frightened. He wondered if he was being targeted. But as the days passed, David began to reflect. He thought, why is this man watching me? Could it be a sign? David remembered the words of his grandmother, who used to tell him, God watches over us in ways we can't always understand. Pay attention to the signs he sends. So instead of succumbing to fear, David decided to pray. He asked Jesus for guidance and protection. And as he prayed, he felt a deep sense of peace wash over him. It was as though Jesus was speaking directly to his heart, saying, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Trust in me." The next day, David mustered the courage to approach the stranger. To his surprise, the man smiled warmly and said, "I've been watching over this neighborhood because I'm a guardian sent to protect it. I am here to ensure that no harm comes to you or your family." David was overwhelmed with gratitude. He realized that what he had initially perceived as a threat was actually a blessing in disguise. My child, this story reminds us that things are not always as they seem. The stranger in your life may not be a person at all. It could be a situation, a challenge, or even an opportunity that feels unfamiliar and unsettling. But when you place your trust in Jesus, you will see that every circumstance, no matter how confusing or frightening, is part of His greater plan for your life. Remember, my child, Jesus wants you to live with faith, not fear. He desires for you to know without a shadow of doubt that you are seen, cherished, and loved beyond human comprehension. Every part of your life, your joys, your struggles, your quiet moments, He observes with tender care. You are not overlooked or forgotten. You are held in the palm of His hand. When you feel a presence or the unsettling notion of being watched, let that moment guide your thoughts upward. This is not a signal of fear, but a divine reminder. A nudge to tell you, I am with you always. Jesus has not abandoned you, my child. In fact, His watchful eyes are a reassurance that you are always in His care. This awareness, however, requires a shift in your perspective. The world around you may try to instill fear, fear of the unknown, fear of threats that seem beyond your control, but Jesus calls you to reject this. He asks you to place your trust fully in Him. Fear may whisper in your ear, but His voice is louder, saying, "Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I strengthen you and uphold you with my righteous hand." The presence you feel, my child, is part of a greater truth. Jesus surrounds you with His love and sends His angels to guide and protect you. These angels are not bound by the physical. They are heavenly beings that watch over you, unseen but powerful. They walk beside you, ready to shield you from harm and to comfort you when life feels overwhelming. Think of this, my beloved. Every time you step out into the world, you are not stepping out alone. Jesus is there, and His divine messengers are near. They go before you to prepare your path and stand behind you to guard your steps. This is His promise to you, a promise you can rest in no matter how uncertain life may seem. Take these words into your heart, my child. Let them sink deeply into your spirit. You are safe in the presence of Jesus. You are loved beyond measure. Every fear you hold, every worry that burdens you, can be laid at His feet. He takes your anxieties and transforms them into peace. This is the gift He offers to you, a peace that surpasses all understanding. Pray on this truth, my child. When you feel the weight of the unknown, bow your head and speak to Him. Say, "Lord, I trust in you. I know that you see me, that you guide me, and that you protect me." These words are more than a prayer. They are a declaration of your faith and a surrender of your fears. Jesus doesn't promise that life will always be easy. There will be moments of challenge, but He promises something far greater, His unending presence. He promises to walk with you through the valleys, to light your way in the darkness, and to strengthen you when you feel weak. My child, reflect on this profound truth. Challenges are not meant to defeat you, but to mold you into the person God envisions you to be. When the storms of life rage around you, and you feel as though the weight of the world is pressing down on your shoulders, remember that Jesus is there. His presence is not distant or abstract. It is real, tangible, and ever faithful. He sees your tears, He hears your prayers, and He knows the depth of your heart. The valleys you face may seem endless, and the darkness may feel suffocating, but know this: Jesus is the light that pierces through even the blackest night. His light is not just a flicker of hope, it is a blazing beacon that guides you home. He walks beside you, not just as a savior but as a friend who never abandons you. When you are weak, He becomes your strength. When you stumble, He lifts you. And when you are lost, He gently leads you back to the path He has prepared for you. Understand, my child, that these trials are not meant to destroy you but to deepen your faith and trust in Him. Imagine a sculptor chiseling away at a rough stone, shaping it into a masterpiece. So too does Jesus work in your life, using the challenges to refine and perfect you. Each hardship, though painful, is a step closer to becoming the person He knows you can be. Jesus does not leave you to face these moments alone. Think of His promise: I will never leave you nor forsake you. This is not a mere assurance. It is a divine covenant, unbreakable and eternal. Even when you feel most alone, when the world seems to turn its back on you, Jesus remains. He is there in the quiet moments, in the whispers of the wind, and in the stillness of your heart. Take comfort, my child, in knowing that His strength is made perfect in your weakness. This is a divine truth that carries immeasurable power and reassurance. In those moments when life feels overwhelming, when the burdens of this world press down heavily on your shoulders, remember that Jesus is not just watching from a distance. He is right there beside you, ready to lift you up. He understands your struggles, your doubts, and your fears, and in those very moments of vulnerability, His strength shines brightest. When you feel as though you cannot go on, when your legs are weary and your spirit is drained, lean on Him. Think of Jesus as your shepherd, guiding you through the wilderness of life. Just as a shepherd never abandons his sheep, Jesus never abandons you. He is there, ready to guide you to safe pastures, to provide rest when you are weary, and to protect you from the dangers that lurk unseen. Rest in His arms, for they are strong enough to carry you through any storm. Picture the arms of Jesus, gentle yet mighty. They are the arms that calmed the raging seas, the arms that healed the sick and embraced the brokenhearted. These are the same arms that now reach out to you, offering peace and solace. No storm, no wave, no wind is too powerful for Him to overcome. His love is the anchor that holds firm, even when the waves threaten to sweep you away. And what an anchor His love is! It's not just a fleeting emotion or a temporary fix. It is a deep, abiding force that grounds you in the midst of chaos. Imagine a ship tossed about on a violent sea, its sails shredded and its crew fearful. Yet, because of its anchor, it remains steadfast, unshaken by the storm. This is what Jesus' love does for you, my child. It keeps you steady, secure, and unshaken, no matter how fierce the tempest. In these moments of trial, you must also remember the invitation Jesus extends to you. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. These words are not just a promise. They are an open door to a place of peace that transcends all understanding. When you enter into His presence, you are no longer defined by your struggles or your failures. Instead, you are wrapped in His grace, a grace that renews and restores. So, my child, when the storms of life come, and they will, do not be afraid to cry out to Jesus. He hears your voice, even when it is faint and trembling. He sees your tears and understands the depth of your pain. And as you call out to Him, you will feel His presence enveloping you like a warm, protective embrace. In His presence, fear melts away, and courage rises. In His presence, weakness turns to strength, and despair turns to hope. Let this truth sink deeply into your heart. You are never alone. Even when the world feels cold and unforgiving, even when friends fail and circumstances falter, Jesus remains constant. He is your refuge, your shelter, and your stronghold. Through Him, you will find the courage to face each day with renewed faith, knowing that you are upheld by a love that never fails. Take this message with you, my child, and let it be the light that guides you through the darkest nights. Rest in His arms, anchor yourself in His love, and walk forward with the unshakable confidence that Jesus is with you, always and forever.